Hello there, welcome to episode 42 of Never Mind the Bullens. My name's Mike Peters, this is your bite-sized Everton podcast and vodcast, reflecting on the defeat to Manchester City. No disgrace, I think, in a defeat against the team that's won 16 games and now 17 games on the trot in all competitions. City are a machine at the moment. There is just, they're absolutely crushing everything in their wake. We look like we might get something out of the game for a while, but I don't think there's any real disgrace in losing. And I said before this week a couple of times that this was a bit of a shot to nothing. If we got something out of the game, it would have been a terrific result, breaking their run. But I think the more important thing last night was the performance off the back of Fulham on Sunday, and the performance was infinitely better than the game against Fulham. Before I get to that, City are going to win the league. I don't think there's any question about that. 10 points clear now. And I think it just shows how good a team they are, the resilience, the quality that they've got. They can bring Kevin De Bruyne off the bench. Sergio Aguero was sat there as well a few minutes ago. And, Kevin De Bruyne is the best midfielder in the league as far as I'm concerned. So, bringing him off and they were winning comfortably just shows where they're at, and it's also a marker in terms of the rest of the league this season and sort of how inconsistent everybody behind them has been, and we're no exception to that. I gave Carlo a bit of criticism after the Fulham game on Sunday, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one to do that. There was criticism coming from all quarters after that performance and the team selection, and it's only fair. I think that last night, I got to give them credit because the team selection to me was right. The tactics were spot on. The discipline, the energy, and the desire was there in a way that it absolutely wasn't against Fulham. They were poles apart, really. The two performances. I thought we were excellent defensively, in terms of the way that we stuck to the game plan. You watched every time you'd watch Ben Godfrey come out. Every time City were attacking, Ben Godfrey would really come out to the flank and stop Kyle Walker, get in the space, because we know how good he is, and therefore then Tom Davies or Luca Dean would drop into that inside left channel to stop Riyad Mahrez doing what his thing of cutting in, which he's been so effective at for a number of seasons now. And the same applying on the other side, to stop Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden coming in as well, as best we could. It was a bit like the Alamo, because I felt, hang on, is there another half to this pitch? Because it felt like the cameras were entirely trained on the Gladys Street end in the first half, because we just really couldn't get, certainly for the first half an hour, we couldn't get out of our own half at all. But we knew it was going to be like that. It's been like that against City at Goodison for a number of seasons now. And because that's the way that they play with Pep, they just completely dominate possession, and it make it very, very difficult for you to get anything, get the ball, never mind get a chance. So we're thinking, right, okay, we've gone one down with a slightly fluky goal, despite Michael Owen saying it was one of the a brilliant strike from Phil Foden. It wasn't. He's hit the ball. It's come off Seamus Coleman. It's gone in the back of the net. Thought Jordan Pickford's performance last night was good as well. Must give him credit, because he made a number of pretty decent saves. He commanded his box well, and I think maybe that little 2 or 3 game break, even though it was enforced because of injury, might have done him some good. But we passed the ball really well. It was tight. We didn't have a lot of time, but our use of the ball last night was really, really good. Passed it cleverly, quickly. A number of players who did really, really well on that. Tom Davies, got to give some credit to, because I've criticised him a number of times on this podcast. I was just wondering, what is his role? And over the last few weeks, his performances have been excellent. He's been crucial, actually, at the base of that midfield in Alan's absence. I thought it was very unfortunate to be taken off on Sunday night against Fulham. And last night, he really was the linchpin of that midfield. It gave Abdoulaye Doucouré licence to get forward, but his positional awareness, his use of the ball, which I think I've been critical of him before, where his passing's not been as good as it can be, but the last couple of weeks he's really, really picked it up, and I hope now that he can become a really, really important squad member for us going forward, particularly running up to the end of the season. Alex Iwobi, I thought, was full of energy last night, full of running, passed the ball well, his use of the ball was good. A couple of crosses that were a bit dodgy, a bit overzealous with them, but okay. But his energy was there, and that was what was sorely lacking against Fulham on Sunday, which is why I couldn't fathom why he hadn't played, because he gets teams pushed back, particularly teams like Fulham, where they're a bit unsure of themselves defensively when they're not as good as Man City. But he was really, really good last night. Great to see Richarlison get back on the score sheet, and his performance picked up again. He was spraying balls around. Obviously, he doesn't offer the same same type of game as as Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because he's not the same type of player. And I think it's noticeable that we've got to find someone in the summer. That may be Moise Kean if he comes back from his loan at PSG, but finding somebody that, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin is not available, that can play that centre forward role and can stretch the game. Because in the first half, Richarlison on a number of occasions was coming 15 yards inside our half. He was beyond our own the centre circle in our half to pick the ball up. And it's like, well, you're not going to stretch Man City doing that. That's too deep to pick the ball up. It gives your defenders, your midfielders, absolutely no respite at all. So that is something that we need to look at in the transfer market. Sounds like Marcel Brands is going to sign a new contract, which is terrific. Luca Dean's contract apparently is going to be signed this week as well. And obviously, great news about the stadium as well. That's absolutely terrific that looks like that's going to be approved. That's wonderful news, and we could have been expecting it, but the delay has been frustrating, so hopefully we can now crack on with that. But back to last night. I think it was the right decision to save Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If he wasn't fully fit, to save him for the derby on Saturday. That is a more winnable game, the way that Liverpool's league form has been lately. Or of course they've broken that now by winning in Leipzig against Leipzig, I should say, in Budapest on Tuesday night. When we obviously got last night to an hour in, and obviously they'd scored a brilliant second goal. Riyad Mahrez. I mean, that's an absolutely fantastic goal. There's nothing. And I said on Sunday, you if you get beaten by playing well, if you play well and you lose to a better team, that's football. That's sport. You just have to accept that. As long as you've gone and done everything that you can do to try and make it possible for you to win. And we did that last night. And you can't really, that's a fantastic goal from Riyad Mahrez, and that is the quality that Man City possessed. And obviously, it's like then at 2-1 now, we cast our mind back a couple of years, and when Big Sam was in charge, and Man City, and we'd somehow got ourselves back into the game, and we were 2-1 down. We were 2-1 down. We got ourselves back into the game. There was a chance we were in a bit of momentum, and then I remember him I think he might have taken off Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Yannick Bolasie, one of the two of them. And made a really defensive substitution. I'm like, I don't understand this. I don't get that. That is, what's the difference if you lose 2-1 or 3-1? So last night I was really pleased with Carlo rolling the dice with the substitutions. It was the right call, because if you're 2-1 down, 20 minutes to go, have a go. You're already losing. It's gonna make no difference to the result. The only difference is the margin, potentially the margin of defeat. So rolling the dice was the right call. Obviously, then allowing, taking Tom Davis off, I thought was an unusual move. But, bringing on Josh King, bringing on James to see if they can create something was the right decision. But, of course, as soon as you drop Gylfi Sigurdsson back into that deeper defence midfield role, you know that you are vulnerable. And that was where the third goal came from. That was my only disappointment, that third goal was a really poor goal. He wasn't picking up, allowed Bernardo Silva to run off him. Michael Keane was completely statuesque. He just ran round him like he wasn't there. It was like a table football game. And then Jordan Pickford, I said he played well, but I think he could have done a bit better with that goal, that third goal. But overall, his performance was good. But in the grand scheme of things, it made no difference to the actual results of the game. Only made a difference to the scoreline. So that is something I'm sure he'll work on and work with Alan Kelly on in training, and just being strong, having stronger wrists. But he's not the only goalkeeper in the Premier League that's conceded goals like that. Lately, Hugo Lloris did it last week, and he's been consistently one of the best goalkeepers in the league for a number of years. Alisson's having a bit of a nightmare. Edison probably would have been disappointed with our goals. So, mistakes are part and parcel of the world of the goalkeeper. But, yeah, that was the only disappointment. But other than that, we can say comfortably for 75 minutes, thereabouts, that we've actually done really, really well against Man City. Yes, we haven't got the result, but the crucial thing now, looking at the league table, we're 5 points behind West Ham, which is disappointing. That just shows how crucial that Fulham game was, because if we'd won that, 40 points, we're too often with a game in hand whenever that Villa game will be scheduled for, and with Liverpool to play. So we have got it in our hands, because we've still got to go. We've gone to Man United. Our away form against the top top six has been pretty good. You know, we've still got to go to Chelsea. We've beaten Tottenham at their place. We beat Leicester, drew at Manchester United. So we've still got it in our hands. We've still got to go to West Ham. So it is in our hands if we want to finish in the top four and be in that mix, going down to the last 5 games or so. So on to Saturday. Derby, well, who knows what it's going to be. You know, I don't want to make any predictions because our form there has been so awful for such a long time. But hope springs eternal. We've always got a chance as long as there's 11 men on the pitch, and it depends on the team that turn up on Saturday, really. So until then, come on, you Blues.